Marcus and I had been married for 3 years, but because of the scars I sustained from a fire, he had consistently refused to touch me. That day, I heard a woman's soft sobs coming from the room, and he comforted her, saying, "She's just a disfigured waste. I'm keeping her around so you don't have to suffer through pregnancy, Sarah." Grace? Humph, she's not even fit to tie your shoes. Sarah was my cousin and the woman he'd always longed for. I sighed in relief and turned to sign the divorce papers, and took his most prized possession with me. I stood trembling outside Marcus's study. Sarah's voice drifted through. "Aren't you afraid sister will get angry?" Afraid? Who else would marry her besides me? Another low chuckle, and he said carelessly, "Anyway, that face of hers, just looking at it makes me sick. Sarah, only you are fit to be my wife. My heart belongs only to you." During their flirtation, Sarah asked when she could become Mrs. Davies. My fingers brushed my cheek. I hadn't told him yet that my scars had mostly disappeared. Back in my room, I opened the contract in the closet. He had been bringing up the IVF a year ago. Sarah was physically frail, so he set his sights on me. The day he rescued me from the fire was exactly Sarah's birthday. Bringing me back to Marcus's home to recover and promising to marry me was also a way for him to spite Sarah. After we married, he refused to touch me, telling me to focus on healing. In truth, it was to keep himself pure for Sarah. He carefully blindfolded me, claiming the light was too bright. Because I was blindfolded, the lower half of my face looked almost identical to Sarah's. He gently patted my back, coaxing me to sleep, calling out repeatedly, "Sarah, don't leave me. I'll take good care of you." It turned out he was just using me as a substitute. Sarah was the woman he'd always longed for. I called my lawyer and asked him to prepare the divorce papers. 3 days later, Sarah moved into Marcus's home, she wanted to take care of me. As soon as she entered, she took my hand. "Don't worry, sister, I'll take good care of you." In a flash, the two were sitting in my garden. Marcus picked flowers for her and placed them in her hair, then they strolled along, nestled together. Marcus's eyes never left Sarah. I had never seen him look like that before. After he left, Sarah looked at my face, smiling. "Sister, you should be careful to keep that appearance hidden. If anyone else sees it, it won't be good for Marcus's reputation. You've been married to Marcus for 3 years, now that I'm here, it's time for you to step aside." Why would I need to step aside? I smiled and turned to leave. At the dinner table, Marcus never sat next to me. Instead, he sat very close to Sarah, their eyes exchanging ambiguous glances. I sat in a corner, listening to their intimate conversation and Sarah's condescending concern for me. "Grace, lend Sarah your pearl necklace. She has a very important banquet tomorrow." Marcus suddenly looked at me, his eyes gentle. My hand paused slightly, and I looked up at him. It was the engagement gift he had personally given me, one of a kind in the world. "Oh, it's fine, Marcus. If doesn't want to, I can do without it," Sarah said, feigning reluctance. "No need. I'll just give it to Sarah," I said faintly. Giving it away was like letting go of a lingering thought. A satisfied look appeared on Marcus's face. He got up, walked to my side, and gently stroked the top of my head. "Good girl. Sarah will surely look beautiful wearing it." I looked up at him. His eyes held only approval, no guilt. My heart died completely. I packed all the jewelry Marcus had given me and sent it to Sarah. I tore the IVF contract to shreds. Marcus suddenly walked in. "What are you doing?" I didn't even have time to speak. He leaned closer, rubbing my waist. "Sarah just moved into Marcus's home. She's timid, so I'm spending more time with her." But I was timid too, he had forego. 10. I suddenly remembered the year we first got married, when the power suddenly went out while I was home alone. At that time, my face was still bandaged, and I often hid in my room alone. He came home late at night, followed by someone, and a dagger was thrust towards his chest. I quickly stepped forward and blocked it for him. I was stabbed in the stomach, but thankfully I had called the police beforehand, and they arrived. He staggered over and held me tightly. He begged me to hold on and not to leave him. At that moment, were you thinking about my safety? Or were you afraid that after I was gone, there would be no one to bear children for the woman you'd always longed for? Seeing my distraught expression, he instinctively hugged me and patted my back. Just as he was about to speak, I interrupted him. "Marcus, I need your signature on the contract." He was overjoyed. "Grace, you finally agreed to the IVF." I smiled faintly. He didn't even look at it. Anything related to Sarah, he would hardly question. He took the document and signed his name. He saw the fold and was about to open it when the butler arrived at the door. "Sir, Miss is looking for you. She says she doesn't feel well." Marcus's attention immediately shifted. What? Go get a doctor for her. He walked away without looking back. I put the divorce papers away. It didn't matter, it was already signed anyway. Late that night, ambiguous sounds and Sarah's deliberately amplified moans came from the next room. I buried myself under the covers but could still hear Marcus's low breaths. I didn't sleep a wink all night. The next day, I opened the contact that had sent me 99 plus text messages. Mr. Ethan, I am willing to marry you. My stomach condition flared up, and I was admitted to the hospital. Marcus came, asked a few casual questions, then said he had company matters to attend to and had to leave. Before I could even speak, Sarah's cough came from the next room. Marcus's steps faltered, and he immediately turned and went next door. He said Sarah was frail and needed care, so he stayed in the next room all night. He never set foot in my room again. A while later, Sarah came, carrying a bowl of healing broth. Sister, are you feeling better? She sat by the bed, recounting how attentive Marcus had been last night. Marcus covered me with blankets several times because he was afraid I'd be cold. He also said that when I'm better, he'll take me skiing in Switzerland. Every word was like a needle pricking my ears. As she stood up, she accidentally bumped the bedside table. My mother's heirloom bracelet clattered, breaking into several pieces. I jolted upright and rushed off the bed. Marcus heard the noise and walked in. He froze for a moment when he saw the fragments on the floor. Sarah cried and grabbed his hand. Without asking any questions, he pointed at me. Grace, Sarah came here kindly to see you, and this is how you treat her? Are you really that envious of her happiness? Sarah pulled his arm, shaking her head tearfully. Marcus, it's not sister's fault. I was just clumsy. Marcus pulled her into his embrace. Look at the mess you've made of yourself. Sarah is so kind-hearted, how could you bear to treat her like this? Get out of here right now. I hadn't even had time to pick up the fragments when the nurse half-dragged me out of the hospital room. Rain soaked my hair. A car slowly pulled up in front of me. It was Sarah. She handed me an umbrella. Sister, don't get sick from the rain. After she spoke, she threw the heirloom bracelet on the ground again. I immediately lunged forward, shielding the bracelet with my body. It was the only keepsake my mother had left me. The next second, Sarah stomped on my hand. Sister, you still have this? If it weren't for her, would Marcus and I have fought? My mother had gone out to buy groceries and happened upon Sarah struggling with another man. When she stepped in to intervene, she was pushed into the road and hit by a car, dying instantly. But secrets don't stay buried. When found out, Sarah blamed my mother and had held a grudge ever since. Sister, tell me, who do you think Marcus and I will believe? Sarah's eyes changed, and she lightly grazed her wrist with a fragment of the bracelet. She sobbed, hiding the blood-stained shard in her sleeve. Suddenly, Marcus appeared, giving me no chance to explain. He pulled Sarah to him and checked the wound on her hand. Marcus shielded Sarah behind him and raised his hand to slap my face. Are you insane? You hurt someone over an heirloom bracelet? I didn't. I tried to explain, my hand trembling as I pointed at the scattered fragments on the ground. He knew how important that bracelet was to me. Still playing innocent. Sarah kindly came out to see you off, and you're still trying to bite her? Sarah hid behind Marcus, feigning terror. Marcus picked her up in his arms and left, leaving me alone in the rain. After a long while, I pulled out my phone. The phone call connected. Hello? I opened my mouth, my throat terribly hoarse. Mr. Ethan, will you come pick me up? The phone call ended. In less than half an hour, a car stopped in front of me. Ethan sent someone to pick me up and take me to his villa. 2 days passed, and Marcus didn't send a single phone call or text message asking where I had gone. I lay in bed. My phone lit up with Sarah's location and photos. In the photos, Marcus was holding her waist, and they stood in front of my favorite dessert shop, smiling brightly. Sister, Marcus said you're sulking, and he wants me to tell you not to be too willful, okay? In his eyes, was it all just my willfulness? I didn't even have the right to be angry. Is jealous of me? Marcus says you've always been like this. I turned off my phone and went back to get my documents. As I walked towards the bedroom at Marcus's home, the door suddenly opened. Sarah stood there wearing my pajamas, with ambiguous red marks on her neck. You're back? A flicker of panic crossed her eyes, quickly replaced by composure. Marcus just fell asleep, so don't wake him up. I silently packed my things. Do you know why Marcus never touched you? She leaned against the doorframe, her smile growing more disdainful. He said your body sickened him. But I'm different. Last night, he took me. I rushed over to cover her mouth. She took the opportunity to grab my wrist and pull. In the struggle, I heavily hit the table corner. The old injury from the fire instantly flared up, and my breathing became difficult. I knelt on the ground, desperately trying to gasp for air. Marcus appeared at the doorway. A flicker of astonishment crossed his eyes when he saw me. "You're back? Where did you go yesterday?" "Marcus!" Sarah interrupted him, clutching her wrist and crying out. "She choked me. She's crazy." I lay on the ground, unable to make a sound, my vision already blurring. Marcus's gaze lingered on me for a second before he hurriedly moved to Sarah, checking her injury with concern. "It's okay, Sarah, I'm here." My pain was invisible to him. Just then, Sarah's vicious dog burst in and charged straight at me. Its fangs pierced my calf, and blood streamed down my pant leg. Marcus heard the commotion and walked over. Sarah immediately began to perform. It was sister. She was trying to hit me just now, and Little Black rushed over to protect me. Upon hearing this, Marcus frowned, looking at me and the bloodstains on the floor. His eyes were full of disgust. "You're truly unreasonable. You brought this on yourself and now you've stained the carpet." I gritted my teeth and stood up, dragging my injured leg towards the door. I looked back at him. He was already embracing Sarah and walking towards the bedroom. I dragged my luggage, staggering to the front door. A dark sedan quietly stopped in front of the house, and the window slowly rolled down. Ethan's face appeared before me. "Get in." I hesitated for a second, then dragged my injured leg towards him. Ethan took off his suit jacket and draped it over me. He asked nothing, simply putting an arm gently around my shoulders. The car drove to his private villa. He didn't say a word the entire trip. The doctor bandaged my wound. I sat on the sofa, and he handed me a cup of hot tea. "Say what you want to say. If not, that's fine too." His voice was so calm. I took a deep breath and told him everything about Marcus and Sarah. Ethan's hands clenched into fists, but he didn't interrupt me. But when he looked at me, his eyes held only tenderness. "Are your scars better?" I nodded but didn't dare meet his gaze directly. He gently lifted my chin, making me look at him. "No matter what you look like, you're the person I've always been looking for." I frowned in confusion. "Do we know each other?" 15 years ago, the little girl who fed the stray cats in the park," he smiled. Suddenly, something clicked. "The boy who gave me candy. It was you?" I widened my eyes, unable to believe it. "You shared your candy with that dirty little cat, saying it needed something sweet more than you did." He remembered every detail, while I had long forgotten. "From that day on, I've been looking for you." His voice was earnest. I couldn't help but shed tears again. Ethan pulled me into his arms and softly promised, "From now on, no one, neither Marcus nor Sarah, will ever be able to hurt you again. I'll help you get your revenge. You don't have to marry me," he suddenly said, "unless you truly want to." I reached out and held his hand, finally daring to look him directly in the eyes. "If you don't mind my scars." He interrupted me. "Those scars prove you survived. That's enough. Mr. John, here's the document you asked for." The secretary handed over a document. Ethan said he had a gift for me. I opened the first page. My John had been secretly pulling strings all these years. I arrived at Davy's headquarters, clutching the will my mother had left. "R. John, are you sure you want me to make this document public?" Uncle's face instantly turned pale. "Grace, we're family." "Family?" I scoffed. 3 years ago, you carved up my mother's shares completely, and now you're talking about family?" He collapsed into his chair. "What do you want?" "I only want what belongs to my mother." As soon as I went downstairs, Marcus's phone calls came one after another. "Grace, we're husband and wife. We need to talk this through properly." I hung up immediately. He probably saw the divorce papers on the bedside table. I found it amusing. He already had Sarah. What was there for him to talk about with me? In the afternoon, Marcus suddenly appeared downstairs from my company. "Grace, didn't you want a child? I agreed to have one with you, so what's all this fuss about now?" I turned to leave. He chased after me. "Have you forgotten who saved you? Who gave you a home?" "Home?" I repeated sarcastically. "Your home with Sarah?" His face turned ashen. "Don't be ungrateful." I turned away. From behind me, I heard his enraged shout, "Grace, in this life, who else would want you besides me?" No matter how furious he became behind me, I ignored him and walked straight away. It was as if Ethan wanted to make up for all the suffering I had endured over the years. Ever since he found me, he had even put his work aside, dedicating himself entirely to spending time with me. At the amusement park, Ethan held my hand as we went on a date. I bought Mickey Mouse hair clips from a shop and put one on his head. He said anything his future wife bought looked good. Just as I was enjoying myself, I spotted Sarah behind us. I excused Ethan. Sister, what are you doing here? Sarah's voice reached me. Marcus frowned. Aren't you afraid your face will scare people? That's right. Sister, hurry home. Marcus and I are very worried about you. Upon hearing this, a surge of anger rushed through me. Grace, how long are you going to be so willful? Sarah is very worried about you. Look how generous Sarah is. You're a married woman, what are you doing out cavorting? I let out a soft laugh. Yes, a married woman. I looked at Marcus and Sarah's intertwined hands. Of course, I'm different. Sarah is still young, I need to take care of her, he said self-righteously. I didn't want to waste any more words. Ethan was waiting for me. Back in the car, Ethan handed me a document. This is Davies's recent cash flow. I opened the document. They won't last much longer. Ethan held my hand. What do you need me to do? Nothing, I leaned on his shoulder. Let them slowly play their own game. Another text message came from Marcus. I deleted the text message and opened my laptop. Davies's stock price began to plummet. Uncle's phone call came. Grace, what have you done? Nothing, I chuckled lightly. Just let the market know some truths. Ethan walked in, holding a document. Marcus's company's capital chain has broken. I nodded. What he took from my family, he should return. News of the Hunter family and the Davies family's marriage alliance spread throughout the city's elite circles. The media scrambled to report on the lavish wedding. Marcus burst into the villa as I was arranging wedding items. Grace, you're not even divorced yet and you're already hooking up with another man? He roughly yanked my wrist. Ethan won't want you. You're just a woman I've grown tired of playing with. Only I, out of great pity, would be willing to take you in as a mistress. I shook off his hand. Marcus, we are over. He sneered. Over? You owe me, and you'll never be able to repay it in this lifetime. If I hadn't saved you, you'd already be dead in that fire. Now you've climbed to a higher branch and want to abandon me? I turned to leave. He violently pinned me against the wall. Grace, you can't escape. I'll let everyone know you're a promiscuous woman. If knew how you pleased me, would he still want you? I raised my hand and slapped him. Marcus, you sicken me. He clutched his face, his eyes sinister. You dare hit me? Do you think Ethan will protect you? He's just using you. When he's tired of you, he'll throw you away. Only I truly care about you. I scoffed. Truly care? Is your true care sleeping with Sarah? Seizing my mother's shares? Or forcing me to have children for your precious woman you'd always longed for? His expression changed. I pushed him away. He was about to lose his temper when Ethan stood at the door. Mr. Marcus, you're not welcome here. Marcus instinctively took a step back. Mr. Ethan, this is a private matter between Grace and me. Ethan slowly walked closer. Private matter? You're harassing my fiancée, and you call that a private matter? Marcus's face turned ashen. Fiancée? She's not divorced yet, this is bigamy. Ethan sneered. The divorce papers have already been signed. Mr. Marcus, surely you recognize your own signature? Marcus suddenly looked at me. Lies. When did I sign it? I said faintly, Mr. Marcus, you'll have to ask the woman you'd always longed for about that. Marcus froze, recalling that a few days prior, Sarah had offered to help him handle those divorce papers. Marcus stumbled backward. Grace, are you really getting a divorce? Falsifying a signature for divorce is a crime. If you don't want the woman you'd always longed for to go to jail, get out. I couldn't stand it anymore. His frantic demeanor made me tell the security guards to remove him. Marcus had been very irritable lately. His company suffered consecutive heavy blows, and its capital chain broke. Ethan handed me a document. Davies's core assets have all been acquired by us. I chuckled. Not enough. Marcus was frantic, and he began to blame Sarah. The two often argued in the office, even resorting to physical altercations. Sarah ran out of the company crying. Marcus returned home and suddenly looked towards a side table. The box on the bedside table. Inside lay divorce papers, quietly. His signature was clearly visible. Marcus collapsed to the ground, suddenly coughing up blood. I stood at the entrance of the charity gala, holding Ethan's arm. The entire hall fell silent. The moment Marcus saw me, his pupils contracted sharply. Grace. He stumbled forward. Ethan coldly blocked him. Marcus's face instantly turned ashen. Sarah shrieked and rushed over. Grace, you plastic surgery freak. She's a slut. She doesn't deserve to stand next to Mr. Ethan. I let out a soft laugh. Sarah, are you talking about yourself? Ethan wrapped his arm around my waist. My fiancé doesn't need anyone's judgment. Marcus stared intently at me. Grace, your face is healed? I chuckled. Yes, it healed long ago. Then why didn't you tell me? Were you just trying to climb to a higher branch and hook up with Ethan? Seeing my delayed reaction, Marcus suddenly knelt on the ground. He frantically hit his head. I was wrong, I really know I was wrong. Marcus and Sarah's voices came from behind. Ethan tightened his grip on my hand. Don't look back. Marcus, this is your retribution. I stepped forward and laid out the evidence one by one on the banquet table. The video footage of the big fire showed Sarah holding matches. The family villa fire, which burned down several buildings, should be familiar to everyone, right? The hall was silent. Everyone looked at the photos. Sarah's fabricated evidence was exposed by me, page by page. This is her handwriting analysis and call logs. Sarah shrieked. You're lying. These are all fake. How could I possibly set fire to and burn down my own family's property? I pushed the last document in front of everyone. It was Marcus's confession statement, personally written by him, detailing all his crimes, including acknowledging Sarah's crimes. Even the woman he'd always longed for, whom he loved to death, ultimately couldn't compete with his reputation. Sarah instantly collapsed. She clawed at her FACE, grabbing Marcus like a madwoman and starting to fight him. The two fought, bloody and battered, shocking the guests. Oh my goodness, so she's that kind of person. Poor, she suffered so much injustice all these years. A snake with a cruel heart, not even sparing her own sister. The representative of the Davies family stood up, his face ashen, and announced, from today on, the Davies family severs all ties with Sarah. Marcus's face was ashen. His stock price plummeted by 80% within an hour. The man who was once so arrogant was now just an empty shell. 3 days later, Marcus appeared at my doorstep. He knelt on the ground, his face covered in stubble, his eyes bloodshot. Grace, I was wrong, truly wrong. He cried profusely. The one I loved has always been you. Sarah was just a mistake. He grabbed the hem of my skirt, prostrating himself on the ground. We can start over. I'll treat you well. Please help me, for the sake of our past relationship. I looked down at him, my heart completely unmoved. I slowly pulled my dress away. Marcus, you've only ever loved yourself. You have no right to say you love me. You don't even know what love is. He suddenly lunged forward, embracing my legs. Grace, don't do this. I can give you anything. Shares, status, money, just come back. I shook my head. Tomorrow, I'm marrying Ethan. No, impossible, you can't marry him. I turned and left, without looking at him again. Behind me, his hysterical cries echoed, Grace, you can't do this to me. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the close button. On the wedding day, I stood before the mirror, wearing a custom-made gown Ethan had specially brought from Paris. Grace, you're truly beautiful, the stylist exclaimed. I smiled faintly. My face, after fully recovering, was indeed stunning. Ethan knocked and entered, impeccably dressed in his suit, his eyes solely on me. It's time, my bride. The guests had already taken their seats, all top figures from the city's elite circles, gathered to witness the lavish wedding of the heir to the Hunter fortune. As the wedding car arrived at the church entrance, I saw that familiar figure. Marcus. He stood by the roadside, followed by a few shabby cars, barely resembling a wedding party. He was disheveled, his eyes bloodshot, staring at me like a madman. Grace, come with me. He lunged forward, only to be firmly restrained by the security guards. Ethan sneered, putting an arm around my waist. Get lost. Marcus struggled to get closer. Grace, look closely, it's me, Marcus. I've come to take you home, he yelled hoarsely. In that moment, a flicker of satisfaction surged within me. Mr. Marcus, please have some self-respect, I said faintly, continuing forward arm in arm with Ethan. Marcus grew desperate, desperately struggling free from the security guards. You can't marry him. He lunged at me. I truly love you. He rushed towards me, his eyes filled with madness. Just as he was about to touch me, Ethan threw a punch. Marcus fell heavily to the ground, blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. Onlookers gasped in surprise. Someone recognized him. Isn't that Marcus from Davies? How did he fall so low? I heard his company went bankrupt, his ex-girlfriend went to jail, and his family disowned him. Marcus lay on the ground, countless images flashing before his eyes. The days I was neglected by him, his pampering of Sarah, his slandering of me, and my stunning recovered appearance, and my resolute rejection of him. Grace. He spat out a mouthful of blood, kneeling on the red carpet. Please, I beg you. I turned my head, not even glancing at him. Ethan tightened his grip on my hand. Don't mind him. We should go in. The wedding march began to play. I walked arm in arm with Ethan, step by step, towards the altar. Behind me, Marcus's heart-wrenching cries echoed, "Grace." I didn't look back, only hearing the sound of a heavy object falling to the ground. The wed. Ing proceeded as planned. Before the priest, Ethan gazed at me deeply. I, Ethan, promised to take Grace as my wife, to love her all my life. His vows were firm and powerful, his eyes only for me. My heart trembled slightly as I recalled the first time I met Ethan. It was he who pulled me up, who gave me a chance at a new life. I do. Ethan gently kissed my forehead. Grace, you finally belong completely to me. The wedding concluded successfully, and I became the mistress of the Hunter family. Later, I heard that Marcus was rushed to the hospital that day for emergency treatment and was diagnosed with a mental breakdown. He was in a coma for a week and completely lost his mind when he woke up. Sarah was sentenced to 10 years in prison for arson, slander, and other charges, with no chance of ever recovering. Ethan and I moved into our new home, and he took meticulous care of me. One day, he took me to the park where we fed cats that year and bought me the same candy. Do you remember? The first time I saw you was here. I leaned against his shoulder. Of course. Ethan squeezed my hand. Look forward. The future is ours. I smiled and nodded, firmly holding on to the hand that would never let go. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.